We are live on TV3 Ghana on DSTV channel 279. My name is Josh Queenie.
And I am Judith Brown. Coming up this afternoon. Tension escalates in Wiamoase following the tragic deaths of 3 individuals in Wiamoase. We'll update you on the latest developments.
Also coming up this afternoon, Interior Minister Alhaji Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak urges immediate action to improve conditions in Ghana's prisons.
And we start from here. Tension has heightened at Wiamoase after 3 people were reportedly killed in Wiamoase. And the house of Faisal Al-Hassan, one of the victims' officers from the police service, have visited the aggrieved family to console them and assure them of justice. Well, we have been joined by William Evansinkum. He's going to give us some more updates on that. But first, here's a report.
The spokesperson for the family has been narrating a rather horrid what happened yesterday, as he was told by one of his friends, that is the deceased friends. Of course, the police has also given them the assurance that they will pursue this case to its logical conclusion. The family is disturbed. The youth here are extremely angry, but the police has consistently told them to calm down and not to take matters in their own hands as they also pursue justice for the deceased. William Evansinkum, TV3 News, Wiamoase.
Well, William Evansinkum is following on the report. He's joining us live for more updates on this. William, good afternoon. Now, what have you gathered so far?
Well, so just a kilometer away from here is Wiamoase, where the incident took place. And as you can see, the police have mounted a snap check, and they are checking every single vehicle that is using this particular road. I was even checked. Now, we understand that yesterday the deceased, together with his friends, came for a funeral, and tension erupted. What triggered that tension? Information is still sketchy, because even in Wiamoase, Judith, nobody is ready to share any information with you. Right. I'm just coming from there, like I said, about a kilometer away from there. And the moment I entered the town, in fact, somebody just confronted me, who are you? Where are you coming from? Are you a CID? I said, no, I'm a journalist. Okay, where's your card? Then I produced my card. Then I asked, where did the incident take place? He said, I don't know. I asked the other person, he said, I don't know. The third person said, well, I also heard that it took place here. But there was one particular person who was ready to divulge some level of information, and she told me that it happened at 3 places. Just few meters away from the Wiamoase lorry station. That is one spot. Then the cemetery, another spot, and then the Wiamoase lorry station itself, the third spot. So those were the places that the incident happened. Talking about the clashes. Right. Now we understand that 3 people were killed, but I can confirm to you that now 2 people have been confirmed now. I have visited the home of one of them, Faisal Al-Hassan, quite disturbing there. Judith.
Right, and what has the family been saying? You said you've been visiting their homes. Have they been speaking to you?
Well, so they are pressuring the police to allow them bury, in line with the Islamic custom. But the police is also asking that a postmortem had to be conducted. Of course, some few minutes before reaching here, the police, together with some family members, had gone to Kompanoche to get a pathologist. So he will do the postmortem so that they will get that opportunity to be able to go through the necessary rite for the burial. It has to be done today. But they are insistent that justice be served. In fact, one person, I mean, a friend of Al Hassan, we understand, came to the house and then invited him, I mean, for the funeral. And then he was the same person who brought Al Hassan's, I mean, phone to the family. This is the information we are getting from the head of the family. And they are asking the police to arrest this particular, I mean, guy. They said after handing over Al Hassan's phone, they've never gotten wind of him. And so they are also looking for him. Of course, the police is also, I mean, dependent on the public to also divulge relevant information that it can also lead or give them that important lead to the perpetrators of the crime. But I can tell you that the police is not taking anything for granted, I mean, any chances. The commander told me that the fear of reprisal for that matter, that is why we see this level of measures. Not too long ago, a car was checked. And then in that particular car, the police found a knife and then scissors. I mean, the passengers were detained. That was before I left here. And I understand they've been sent to the police station. So, I mean, they are not leaving anything to chances.
Thank you so much for your time. William Evans Sinkum is Northern Bureau Chief. He has been bringing us all the updates on this developing story on the death of some 3 persons at Wiamoase. We'll bring you more updates on this in our subsequent bulletins, but we have more stories for you.
Away from the Ashanti region, let's move to the northern region as the Agric traffic light in Tamale, which has been malfunctioning for several months, has been finally fixed. Several lives were lost, with others maimed for life following series of accidents on the road as a result of the breakdown of the traffic light. And Deputy Minister of Roads and Highways and MP for Tamale North constituency, Al Hassan Sweeney, while inspecting work on the traffic light, gave the assurance that malfunctioning traffic lights in the Tamale enclave will all be fixed. And now let's touch base with our Northern Regional correspondent via Zoom. But before that, let's hear from some residents.
Traffic light has been of concern to people in the metropolis for a very long time now. It has not been functioning for many, many months, if not years. And we all know how busy this road is. And as a result of the dysfunctional nature of the traffic light, many accidents have happened on this road. And so it has become a headache to many motorists and residents of this, metropolis. And when I was sworn in, being a resident and being a regular user of this road, I, even before it became a very topical issue on social media, thought that there was a need for some proper attention to be given to it, because it is a road that my attention doesn't have to be drawn to. Every other weekend when I visit the constituency, I use the road, and I see the inconvenience that the lack of the functional traffic light has on motorists here. So it was only but a reminder when some media people in the region took this matter up, and I must commend the local media for the interest that they showed in the dysfunctional nature of this traffic light, and the attention that they sought to get stakeholders to give to that dysfunctional.
Well, you just heard from the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways and also the MP for Tamale North, Al Hassan Sweeney. Now, let's start base with our correspondent, Christopher Marco. Christopher, obviously, motorists will be relieved following the repair of this very traffic light, but how long has this very situation persisted in the region?
Yes, so George, this particular traffic light is very, very important to motorists in the Greater Tamale metropolis, because if you look at where it is situated, the busy Bolga Road is there and other adjoining or linking routes. And so long vehicles and other small vehicles, including motorbikes, all use this particular stretch of the road. And so when the traffic light was dysfunctional, a lot of accidents had happened at that particular place. Some have died out of it, and others have been maimed for life as we speak. And so the residents right now have commended the urban roads as well as the Ministry of Roads and Highways for coming to repair that traffic light and giving it back to serve its intended purpose. And so they are only happy that the traffic light has been repaired, but their concern has to do with the fact that culture of maintenance is one thing, because the other traffic lights in town, anytime it rains or anytime there is lights out, when the lights come, it takes time before it bounces back. And so residents are hoping that this particular traffic light that has been worked on will be properly monitored and maintained so that the people will have a full benefit of using it.
And Christopher, this is not the only traffic light that has a problem in the enclave. What did the minister say about working on the others?
Yeah, so we have the most busiest traffic light joint in town. That is around the central business town, Quality First, Taxi Rank, that enclave. And so it is always very busy. So anytime the traffic light is dysfunctional, it causes a lot of traffic around that area. So the minister said that now that the agri-traffic light has been worked on, he is also going to ensure that the urban roads work on all dysfunctional traffic lights in the Greater Tamale metropolis.
So before we part company, let's talk about the attitude of road users towards the traffic light. How is the compliance level like?
Yes, I would say it's the best, because when it comes to traffic regulations or observation in the Greater Tamale metropolis, it's a worrying situation because of the motor riders. You get to a traffic light, when it's red and signaling people to stop, you see people trying to meander their way through these traffic lights, even though they have been asked to stop by the signal. And so the minister also expressed that concern and hoping that residents will also respect the traffic rules, so that the issues of accidents that are recorded on daily basis around where these traffic lights are stopped. Most of the accidents around the traffic light, obviously, it's not only because the traffic light has been dysfunctional, but it is because people do not even want to stop when they are riding. And so it is the hope of the minister and other road users that these people will comply with the traffic regulations so that it will, as it were, stop some of these unnecessary accidents that are recorded in the metropolis.
Updating us on the malfunctioning street lights in Tamale and the impact it has on residents. And that has finally been fixed, and that, according to the minister, will be replicated across the region.
Minister for Interior Alhaji Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak has called for urgent reforms to improve conditions in the country's prisons following his working visit to the Kumasi Central Prisons. Well, describing the current state of affairs as deeply unacceptable, he expressed surprise at the quality and quantity of food served to inmates, as well as the general management of resources within the facility.
This afternoon, I'm even more saddened by what I've seen. I think what I've seen is worse than what I've heard. And I think as people, we need to prick our conscience to wake up to the realization that for mistakes, all of us are bound to make mistakes in our life. No matter how grievous the mistake that we make in our life, we decide to treat it as one piece. And I'm sorry to say, for lack of a better word, what I've seen this afternoon in the South, I'm not surprised that since 2002, no minister have had the courage to visit any of our prisons. And I'm told that since 2002, when my own uncle, Honorable Malik Al-Hassan, visited this prison, no minister has visited it until me. And this is the first prison I'm also visiting. It tells you that I don't want your story to remain only in rhetoric, where I just say it and talk about it on the media as if I'm just trying to bring the emotions of people. But everything that I've been saying is something that I mean, that we need to take you out of orphanage and make you children. I promise you, I will give it my very best. I will give it my best of shots. I will make improving the prison service and the prison inmates' life better than I came to meet it by the grace of God. I know the pain that you go through with these inmates. And what I've seen this afternoon, I would liken it to simply killing the humanity in the inmates. We bring them here for reform, but we'll end up making them become more inhuman than they came in. And I don't think that is right.
Also on the subject, and Jonathan Osai Owusu is founder and executive director of the POS Foundation, a human rights and youth development-centered NGO. He's joining us with more details. Good afternoon, Sana. What are the most urgent reforms needed to address the poor living conditions and inadequate resources in Ghana's prisons?
Thank you very much, my sister, and then good afternoon to your viewers. Before I respond to your question, let me commend the minister for the visit that he made to Kumasi.
Right.
It's over decades, and so it's a very big, it's a historic visit that we commend him for that. Again, he touched on three things that he was looking at in terms of the reforms. The critical one to begin with is the food. If you go to the prisons, there is something they call rationing. One of the biggest challenges that they face is the feeding. I'm not going to speak much on that because the minister vehemently mentioned he's going to do something about it. And as advocates, we've been fighting, pushing, calling on various governments and presidents to at least adjust the feeding fee of 1 cedi 80 pesos. And so this is a good call and a move by the minister to make sure that when the people eat well, they will be able to get the reformations that are needed. In fact, there are some skill development and educational programs that are taking place in the prisons. And the research we recently did about 2 months ago with the forensic department at UCC suggested that the programs are not becoming more effective because they do not have time for food and they have to leave class to go and find what they will eat. So I'll put the brakes there to say that the food issue or the 1 cedi 80 pesos, which is less than $50, is not something that we are happy about. And so the minister, who during vetting and some of the actions he has taken seems to be very proactive from the beginning. We are waiting that this will be not rhetoric, as he said, but we'll work together to get this feeding better. Now, when we go to...
Yeah, I was saying that I can only imagine what really 1 cedi 80 pesos can afford, what kind of food it can afford for these inmates really has to be checked. But how can NGOs collaborate with the government to improve the quality of rehabilitation programs and mental health services for these inmates?
As we are talking with you, we are yet to have audience with the minister, but there are ongoing reforms that we are so much happy that the minister even mentioned as part of his vision going to take place. For example, we heard him also talk about the parole. The parole, when you look at Article 208 of the 1992 Constitution, it was mentioned. And so civil society and his ministry, together with Ghana Prison Service or led by Ghana Prison Service, we have a CI. That is a draft one that I know the minister is working seriously on that to be able to go to the subsidiary legislation committee in parliament. And when that is done, just like he said, I don't want to flatter the minister so much, but it seems he's speaking to the core of the issues that we are so much happy about. He even gave some deadlines that within the shortest possible time, the parole will go through so that those who deserve to serve their sentence from home can have that opportunity, because it helps to decongest the prisons and also give them that kind of reformation to that extent. But there was one that he didn't touch that I think is also of a significant concern. When you look at the prison infirmaries, that is where you call the small clinics. I think this one will not be just government. It's a call to pharmaceutical companies, health company, organizations to go to the aid of all the prison facilities and stock their infirmary with basic medication. It's not everything we have to leave for government. Civil society, we are in partnership with them to do the parole, the community service, and other things. But this one, I will make a humble appeal that the infirmaries, which is keeping the health of these inmates, are not well stocked because already they are under, the funding is so much less. And so if we can use this opportunity for a company or a pharmaceutical organization to draw a plan for almost all the 43 facilities in Ghana, this will be a good way to keep their health in touch whilst we are looking at how to improve other conditions and to reduce the congestion rate through the Justice for All program.
Right, now you've talked about private institutions can do to help, but what strategies, in your opinion, can be implemented to ensure better food, healthcare, and basically the overall well-being of these inmates? And how can accountability also be enforced within prison management?
In terms of public-private partnership, this has been one of the core that has come up, that our inmates are there. Mostly they are not well structured to do anything labor to bring them profit, apart from the agric that we see them being used to bring some level of revenue to them. So there is a core that we should have a comprehensive discussion and a roadmap, which the minister also said during the vetting. Right. So at this stage, I am not proposing any reform, but what we are saying is that it will be a good step to have private people join the prison service, roll out a specific activity or intervention to help them engage in skill development, and even someone, it will say that the dual dexes that government goes to buy for the schools. This can be done by the carpentry shops or those who have come out and are giving some level of skills. We can have some kind of program to enable them do these dual decks and other things to be able to earn a living and help the development of the nation. So basically, we are saying that the core to get private partnership in the development and the reform for prison inmates is a good call. We must sit as stakeholders, discuss it, and be able to move from the paper to the ground.
Many thanks for your time. Jonathan Osei-Owusu is a founder and executive director of POS Foundation, a human rights and youth development-centered NGO.
Well, if you're just tuning in, you're still watching Weekend Central here on TV3. Let's get interactive. Follow us on Facebook, we are live. Engage us with your opinions and comment on stories that have aired so far. And our convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Dr. Kenashigbe, wants President John Dramani Mahama to deal with the politically exposed persons involved in illegal small-scale mining, that's known as Galamsey. The destruction caused by activities of illegal miners have destroyed vast acres of forest cover, farms, and led to the pollution of rivers and other water bodies. Here's a News Desk report.
For months, illegal miners have been causing havoc in some forest reserves across the country. Several hectares of forests have been destroyed to make way for gold extraction, farms have been damaged, and water bodies polluted as a result of illegal mining activities. Civil society organizations have been calling for drastic measures to tackle the menace, including the repeal of the Environmental Protection Mining in Forest Reserves Regulation, LI 2462. The new NDC government has initiated moves to amend the LI, but environmental CSOs are calling for a complete repeal. The NDC government has also renewed efforts to reclaim water bodies and forest reserves. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, has indicated that no one will be spared if they continue to mine in restricted zones, regardless of political affiliation.
Through sustained joint operations, 7 of these reserves have now been reclaimed. The reclaimed reserves are Jemra and Jemra Extension, Afao Hills, Tano Anya, Ofin Shelter Belt, Anyasu East, and Ashanti South and Subri. Efforts are ongoing to reclaim the other 2, which are Asenayo and Desiree. A total of 100 excavators are now in the custody of the security forces. We have 3 bulldozers and 4 vehicles.
Speaking on the key points, the convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Dr. Ken Ashibe, said illegal miners from both the New Patriotic Party, NPP, and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, have partnered to engage in Galamsey activities.
In 2016-2017, there was a criminal transition between the NDC, who were mining then in 2016, and the MPP in 2017. Now in 2024 and 2025, what has happened is that they have done a measure. What has happened is that now the NDC people say, it is my government that is in power. But you know what the MPP people have done? They've gone behind them. So they've merged. So now the NDC people who claim that their party is in power, they might have 70% of the booty. And then these MPP criminals who were then doing it before, they have now joined us because they might have had the excavators and all of those things there. So they've joined us.
Dr. Ashibe repeated his calls for President Mahama to investigate the alleged involvement of Akunta mining in illegal small-scale mining.
I am praying that the current CID boss, my brother, the IGP, and then His Excellency the President, the Attorney General, they need to take this case to court. Not only that, currently, the MDC MP for our win has been accused by his traditional council of being involved in Galamsey. The NDC constituency chairperson for Axim has been accused by a large-scale miner of being involved in Galamsey. My plea to His Excellency the President, he should openly order investigations into these 2 cases.
For Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Professor Ransford Jampo, government must declare a state of emergency.
This is an executive presidency. Executive presidency has the power. Let us not wait till election 2028 is approaching. It will be difficult. This is the time to fight illegal mining with all the forces that the Ghanaian state has conferred, on us as a people. First of all, a state of emergency.
The Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, stated that President John Dramani Mahama is in discussions with security agencies to decide whether or not to declare a state of emergency in areas affected by illegal mining.
What President Mahama would do is that you don't just declare state of emergency. State of emergency declaration should be done as a result of security briefing and advice you get. President Mahama has actually engaged those clothed with the capacity security-wise to advise him on these issues. He's engaging them. They are assessing the situation. Look, if the conclusion of the security advice the president gets is that there should be a state of emergency, President Mahama would do that without blinking.
Meanwhile, the Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mubarak, during an engagement with the imams and Zongo chiefs in Kumasi, ordered the immediate transfer of all police commanders in mining areas as part of intensified efforts to curb illegal mining.
Police,
I have ordered for every police commander in a Galamsey area to be transferred and replaced. I'm not implying that you've been compromised, but you've stayed too long and you need to be changed. Some of them have connived with the Galamseyers to do this illegality.
Now away from Galamsey, Ghana faces a new trade challenge as the United States of America imposes a 10% tariff on imports from the country. This move raises concerns about the rising costs and export competitiveness. Well, stakeholders have called on the Trade Ministry to invest more and strengthen local production. But is the country ready? Well, Deborah Abamenta explores the impact and the way forward.
The move, which adds to previous trade restrictions, is expected to increase production costs and raise the prices of Ghanaian goods exported to the United States. The Executive Secretary of the Ghana Importers and Exporters Association has highlighted major businesses that will be affected arguing that the tariff contradicts World Trade Organization protocols.
Because every day we talk about export proceed, the chunk of it is cocoa, bauxite, diamond, gold, and others. But when it comes to the non-traditional commodity export, those who send banana to the U.S. market, those who send pineapple to the U.S. market, those who send dry fish to the U.S. market, those who send yam to the U.S. market, those who send sito to the sito, that's a black pepper to the U.S. market, those who send Thai and dye batik, those who send in my region, I'm coming from the Upper East region, the basket list to the Agua market. What it means is that this has a negative impact on this group of persons who export this line of items into the U.S. market.
Economists have also weighed in, describing the tariff as a signal for African nations to strengthen intracontinental trade. They argue that dependence on external markets leaves Ghana vulnerable to foreign policies that could destabilize the economy.
President Trump is a clear reminder to African countries that if we learn to trade among ourselves, we will not be exposed to unilateral tariffs and other punitive tariffs and other trade barriers. Even when you take tariff aside, sending your goods to the U.S. market, you need to meet certain criteria.
With this development, there are growing calls for the government to engage key stakeholders in developing a long-term strategy.
The Minister of Trade, Minister of Foreign Affairs need to invite the key stakeholders. Fake Federation of Ghanaian Exporters and Guta, the like, TAC, all of us to a round table to discuss. I said somewhere that this dawned on us to look for other areas for market, for Ghanaian product. We need to take the opportunity on the African Continental Free Trade area, which is not, since the implementation, we haven't seen any significant improvement of us taking the opportunity. Maybe we need to really look at the negotiations and things.
As concerns grow over Ghana's economic resilience, one pressing question remains: is the country ready to invest in its trade systems, achieve self-sufficiency, and gain the power to negotiate better trade terms? The answer lies in the hands of every Ghanaian.
And now the government of Ghana has reiterated its commitment to tackling the recently imposed 10% universal tariffs by the United States on imports from Ghana and other countries. As an immediate measure, the Ministers of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Finance and Foreign Affairs are scheduled to engage the U.S. ambassador to Ghana on Monday, April 7, 2025. In a statement issued on Saturday, April 5, the Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry assured the private sector, especially exporters and investors, of government's swift response to the situation. The statement added that Ministry, as a matter of urgency, is also engaging relevant stakeholders to determine the extent of the effect and assess the full impact of the U.S. tariffs on the country's economy. According to the Ministry, various strategies are under consideration to mitigate the immediate impact on Ghana's trade, the statement said. And the Ministry highlighted that many Ghanaian exports to the U.S. currently benefit from duty-free, quota-free access under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGWA, a non-reciprocal preferential trade agreement for eligible African countries. And that takes us to our first break. We're back with more news. Don't go anywhere.
So much love in the air. What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us on this unforgettable night.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here. Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
Just taking a trip down memory lane.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay
giving us peaceful, restful sleep. And the stretchy side tape.
Welcome back. You're still watching Weekend Central. Now, the Commissioner for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Dr. Joseph Withau, has promised to nip corruption in the bud, indicating it is a major hindrance to the country's growth and development. Dr. Withau emphasized that lessons learned from evaluating the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan, NACAP, will inform NACAP Phase 2.
Scandals involving public service officials and private individuals are rife. The Mahama administration in 2015 implemented the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan, NACAP, aimed at fighting corruption and ensuring structural transformations in anti-corruption operations in public and private sector organizations. Key findings after 10 years of the program highlighted the creation and strengthening of anti-corruption institutions, including the Office of the Special Prosecutor, Economic and Organized Crime Office, and Public Procurement Authority. These institutions facilitated investigations and prosecutions of corruption-related cases. Commissioner of the Human Rights and Administrative Justice Charge, Dr. Joseph Withau, stressed the need for stakeholders and citizens to work together in order to create a more transparent and accountable society.
We need political action. Political action comes in different forms. How is government and everybody who has the highest level of responsibility making sure that NACAP becomes a living document? How do they release resources to the anti-corruption agencies? How do they strengthen the anti-corruption agencies in terms of their mandates? Even if their legal frameworks are no longer delivering, can they amend them to make them more fit for purpose? Quite a number of lessons learned that will go into NACAP too.
Deputy Chief of Staff at the Office of the President, Nana Oyebampo Addo, acknowledged progress made in fighting corruption, but said it remains a challenge undermining social justice, economic growth, and democratic principles.
The commitment of President John Dramani Mahama to fight against corruption is unwavering, setting up an independent value for money office to scrutinize government procurements above $5 million, supporting the Auditor General to enforce its surcharge powers to retrieve embezzled funds with interest, reviewing the Internal Audit Agency Act, and reviewing the asset declaration regime in Chapter 24 of the Constitution of Ghana and the Public Office Holders Act of 1998.
Two siblings, victims of the recent domestic gas incident in the Eastern region, were laid to rest. Correspondent Yvonne Ikwe was at the burial and has further report.
A domestic gas incident claimed the lives of 3 individuals. Among them are 2 siblings, a 17-year-old of the Koforidua Technical University and her younger sibling, a class 4-year-old pupil. Today, they're being buried. It's been a heartbreaking incident for parents students, their colleagues, families, and sympathizers. For the inconsolable parents, they're asking for just one thing: that the fire service personnel do enhance education efforts to ensure people are able to deal with leakages in their homes to curb the reoccurrence of such incidents.
Teachers, colleagues, and family members of both victims, visibly distressed, shed uncontrollable tears as they paid heartfelt tributes and performed funeral rites. Their father, Victor Twasbani Aibo, was overwhelmed with emotions.
Now, the management of Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital, CATH, Ghana's second largest referral hospital, has reaffirmed its commitment to improving healthcare delivery despite ongoing operational and financial challenges. Speaking at the 2024 performance review of the facility, Chief Executive Officer Professor Otri Adai-Mensah revealed that the hospital had prioritized the judicious use of its internally generated funds, IGF, to procure advanced medical equipment, enabling the provision of specialized care.
As the hospital marks its 70th anniversary this year, management wishes to reiterate its commitment to repositioning it as a leading center for subspecialist and super specialist care, training and research in Africa. This is expected to be achieved through the adoption of patient-centered, technology-mediated, innovation-driven skills development, intensive resource mobilization, and partnership-based strategies. We believe that CATH has served the people of Ghana well over the past 70 years, despite the complex matrix of challenges it has faced. The time has thus come for it to be celebrated and further enabled and supported to comprehensively address the remaining constricting challenges so that it can better serve the public in the coming decades.
Management can consider setting up dedicated funds where well-meaning individuals can contribute to support the management of complicated and expensive procedures such as cardiothoracic-related surgical procedures, cancer treatment, and dialysis. This will be buttressing the significant strides the government is making to support healthcare delivery in the country.
Well, let's stay on health because Ghana is set to host the International Conference on AIDS and STIs in Africa for the first time this year, marking a significant milestone in the fight against HIV/AIDS. Ahead of the pivotal event, members of the Society for AIDS and STIs in Africa have deliberated on strategies to champion the conference agenda, which aims to ensure sustainable response to ending AIDS in Africa. Ekwoforo Adako reports.
Recent statistics indicate that approximately 25.6 million people in sub-Saharan Africa were living with HIV as of 2023, accounting for over 2/3 of the global total. Also, Ghana's prevalence rate is at 1.66%, which translates to about 530,000 infections across the country. In an interview with TV3 News, the acting director of Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Prosper Kabong, said the government is striving to address the funding gaps in HIV/AIDS response and treatment.
Currently, the statistics is just being drawn. I've just come from Kofrida. In a few weeks' time, we had the statistics, but it's good. We're almost getting there. Almost getting to the 90% of people knowing their status, almost getting to the 90% people who are on treatment, and then most people on treatment already have hit about 95%.
To build on successes and end AIDS in Africa, the 2025 International Conference on AIDS and STIs in Africa, ICASA, will focus on several key areas, including HIV prevention programs, equitable access to innovative interventions, and impact of emerging diseases on access to prevention and treatment of HIV.
It's 3 in 1. We have the leadership, we have the community, and we have also the scientific program. And if we put the three together, we are sure that we can get the right response to our challenges in the continent.
The president of the International Conference on AIDS and STIs in Africa, ICASA, Dr. David Pagwesese, stressed on ICASA's aim to galvanize a united response to ending AIDS in Africa.
We're talking about here is protection. Prevention is number 1, 2 is prevention, number 3 is prevention, and also we're going to look at domestic funding to see how we can fund our own programs within the Africa region.
The first International Steering Committee meeting of ICASA 2025 brought together stakeholders and experts from across the African continent and the globe. ICASA is scheduled to take place from December 3 to December 8, 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center. Ekia Ufriwa, Dako, TV3 News, Accra.
This is Weekend Central on TV3. We're going for a quick commercial break. Stick with us.
Welcome back. You're still watching Weekend Central. Now, tomato farmers in the Teshiman North District are overjoyed following the municipal chief executive's decision to provide them with new improved seedlings to enhance their yield. Now, according to the farmers, this intervention will significantly boost productivity, increase output, and ultimately improve their livelihoods.
Tiobodom, located in the Chichman North District of the Bono East region, is widely recognized as one of Ghana's largest hubs for organic tomato farming. The fertile soil and favorable climate make the area ideal for tomato cultivation, with thousands of residents relying on it as their primary source of income. However, despite their community's deep-rooted investment in tomato production, local farmers have for years grappled with a range of challenges. Key among them is the poor quality of seedlings available, which often lead to low yields, pest infestation, and post-harvest losses. In a bid to address this pressing issue, the newly confirmed municipal chief executive for Teshiman North, Adom Kobina Johnson, has pledged to collaborate with the relevant agencies to provide improved disease-resistant tomato seedlings to farmers.
To make sure that we give the farmers, especially the tomato farmers, new improved seedlings. As you can see, the seedling that they are relying on and the fruit thereof, there is a challenge as far as processing is concerned. So I'm going to liaise with the Department of Agriculture to make sure that we have new improved seedling for our farmers and also support them with finances so that they can also expand their businesses and create markets also for them.
Farmers says, with the right seeds and some technical training, Tiobodom can become a top supplier of quality tomatoes in Ghana. We accept it in good faith and hope that he can implement this policy. If the minister collaborates with the DCE to supply us with some of these cobra seeds, it will really improve our productivity. This would also prevent the market women who go out to Waga to go and buy the tomatoes to stay in Ghana here and buy our products and sell. It will help us to farm all-round season, which will help us take care of our children. We don't have some of the seedlings here. We buy from Cote d'Ivoire or Togo, and the CFA is expensive, so if we get some here, it will really boost our productivity. They are further urging the government to build a tomato production factory in the area to help preserve and add value to their products. During the season of bumper harvest, most of our tomatoes perish, and so we want the government to build a processing factory here for us. The challenges faced by tomato farmers in Tiobodom are the same as those faced by other tomato growing communities across the country. This has led to overdependence on tomato imports. In 2024, Ghana's tomato production faced challenges, with only 34% of the 1.4 million tons consumed locally are being produced domestically. Support for farmers to improve yields will not only reduce imports, saving foreign exchange, but also contribute to job creation and lower food inflation. Belinda Tese, TV3 News, Tiobodom, Bono East region.
In some sport news this afternoon, as the Ghana Premier League draws closer to its end this season, the race for the Golden Boot remains as hot as ever. Stephen Amankuna, the winner of that award last season, is firmly in the running to win it again. My colleague Mutala Yakubu looked at how the forward has been beating adversity and forged a path to accolades.
That's a bonus! Oh my goodness! That is the equalizer!
Stephen Amankuna has become a household name in the Ghana Premier League, starring for Bono Ahafo side Brekum Chelsea. The 25-year-old has been a key figure for the Bibres, consistently delivering top performances. However, his journey to the top has not been without challenges. In 2021, Amankuna earned a move to Ghanaian giant Asante Kotoko, where expectations were high. Unfortunately, his time at the club did not go as planned, as he struggled for game time under then head coach Prosper Ogum. Nicknamed Gene C. Ronaldo, Amankuna wasted no time rediscovering his form upon rejoining Brekum Chelsea. He played a crucial role in helping the club finish third in the 2023-24 GPL season, while also claiming the league's top scorer award with 19 goals, his best campaign yet. This season, he has continued his fine form, currently sitting as the joint top scorer in the ongoing GPL campaign with 10 goals. So far, Amankona has netted 50 goals in 120 appearances across all competitions for Brekum Chelsea since 2020. His ambition is clear. He wants to deliver the GPL title to the club's passionate fans. Brekum Chelsea head coach Samuel Buedu has lauded Amankona's professionalism and dismissed past claims of indiscipline, emphasizing how he has managed to bring out the best in the winger.
So coach beat me manage Balotoria and Neymar. I can also manage Amankona. Because one thing I've seen Amankona is that people may say, oh, we're quick-tempered, but one thing is that on PSC.
Even Asante Kotoko coach Prosper Ogum, who previously worked with him, has praised his evolution into a more complete player.
And he's an excellent player. He's a very good quality player. From the time I coach him to this time, to me as a coach, I would say he has improved. He's mature.
Amankona further proved his worth by scoring the winning goal in Brekum Chelsea's MTN FA Cup quarter-final victory over Bechem United. With the team set to face Asante Kotoko in the semi-finals in Takwa, the winger is eager to make a statement against his former club. As the season nears its climax, Amankona is determined to lead Chelsea to silverware and cement his place as one of the GPL's finest talents.
Well, that's how time will permit us. We end the Weekend Central today. For more news updates, you'd want to log on to our website, it's 3news.com. My name is George Queenan.
And I am Judith Brown. A pleasure